episode 113 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic.
We did it. We made it to the Last Jedi.
We always say we did it like we're actually like
doing something.
Yeah,
we paid the money and we sat down.
We finally did it. We finally got to go to the movie that we wanted to go see.
like we were training.
Like we were training for this.
We've been training for this for 2 years.
like I had to run like a marathon or something to get ready for the Last Jedi, and all I had to do was just click a button.
Well, this is kind of pretty rare for us to be able to watch a movie and go and record right after it and get to record together, because usually we're apart.
So we went to the Esquire IMAX.
Yes.
In Sacramento, probably the best IMAX in this entire county.
I would think so.
But yeah, this was a quote unquote special showing for I want to keep saying The Force Awakens, but this is the Last Jedi.
It's a fan event.
Yeah, so they had cosplayers, they had all the old school toys, which was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
The only thing that was missing was the Vader with the lightsaber that came out of his arm.
Oh yeah,
that was the one I wanted to see to cry to myself, because that's the thing I used to chew as a kid. So let's get the boring stuff out of the way first. We are literally doing this Thursday night when you're hearing it on Monday. So we literally just got out.
And we have no idea what the
half hour.
Yeah, we have no idea.
We don't know what the box office numbers are. It's projecting that it'll hit 200 million. The Rotten Tomatoes rating is at 94% with 248 counted.
Wow.
Which is really high.
That's really high. It's so early too.
Well,
to have 200 and something reviews.
Well, they premiered it like last week too.
Yeah,
So, but that being said, that's probably going to project that 94 rating, and it's a Star Wars movie about Luke Skywalker and back in the mix of things. It's probably going to hit 200 million. There's no doubt that I don't think it's going to hit 200 million.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just wondering how high it's going to go.
Well, they brought everybody back with The Force Awakens, and 2 years later we hear with The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
So,
and spoilers, they kill a lot of people off.
spoilers. So again, why are you even listening to us if you've never seen the movie yet? You might be one of the very few people who haven't seen the movie yet. But all right, initial reactions. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'm going to be very brief because I want to just dive into this thing. Okay. So I really liked it. I'm not in the love section just yet, but again, we just saw it. I need time to process it. I'm probably going to watch it again in a couple of days. Because like the first time you watch it, I feel like I'm being really critical, like just totally like, I don't know, just really looking at everything. And there was a lot going on. So it was really hard to kind of, like I'm struggling right now to remember what the credits said. So now I'll be able to kick back and watch it, in a couple of days and kind of soak it in some more. But I enjoyed it. There was a lot of parts in it where I was cheering way more than Force Awakens was. I laughed a lot, way more than any other Star Wars movie. I was laughing quite a bit. I'm not sure how I feel about that just yet, but we can dive into that in a little bit. But what were your initial reactions?
I think disappointed. Disappointed was, and I'm having a hard time processing this. I talked to a couple of people that we went with because I had to wait for you to be out of the way so that I can actually talk to them without ruining the podcast.
Right.
And I don't know. I was scared. Like there was parts in it where I was just like things that I'd never seen before. Again, spoilers. So right off the bat, like I didn't know the Force could work like a spacesuit.
Right.
No idea that you could do that, and I thought that was really weird, and really just I don't know, just like okay, I think you might have jumped the shark with the Force on this one.
Yeah.
But initial reactions was I was disappointed, and I'll try to dive into it. I don't know right now if I'm disappointed because my expectations were so high, or I expected to see certain things. Like I didn't like the way Luke went out.
Yeah. So yes, I mean there was some disappointment there as well for me. I think what you're getting at is that, and we briefly said this when we left the movie, was that Luke says in the commercial, and he says it in the movie too. This isn't what you're expecting. What was the line?
This isn't going to go.
This isn't going to go how you think it's going to go, and that's exactly how it went. Every time I was like, "Oh, this is going to happen."
Yeah, that's a good point.
It didn't happen.
Yeah,
something else happened.
That line combined with what Kylo Ren says about let go of the past.
Yeah, kill it, destroy it.
It was kind of like it's one by one. They're just picking off the old trilogy.
Yeah.
In each movie, and spoilers. Luke dies in this movie, and not in the way that I guess I was expecting him to die. I was a little disappointed. I did like the sunset thing there.
Yeah,
because there was not two suns on that planet, but when he was becoming one with the Force, that's when he started seeing the two suns, like when he was back home. I think my biggest problem is the movie is called The Last Jedi, and I think on first review, I'm not like Mark Bernard. I'm not really good at all this like breaking down shit, but just based on first viewing of this movie, The Last Jedi is really about hope.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they say it so many times, and the spark that, like, even though Poe says it, it's not them. Luke gives it to everybody because now his story goes out into the world, and he becomes even a bigger legend than before when he did it, to bring down the Empire against Vader and Palpatine by himself. Well, actually, no, not really. Palpatine was killed by Vader.
Right.
But then, again, he gets another story, like an ending to his chapter, like the legend grows even further.
Right.
I liked that part of it. I just thought I felt like I wanted more out of Luke's character. You get to see, like, actually what happened, why, Luke disappeared, and you get the backstory. I felt like every time they revealed a question that we had from The Force Awakens, I was like, that's it?
Yeah.
That's it? Like,
yeah.
I don't know if Kylo Ren's fucking with Rey in the movie.
As far as the parents go?
Yeah, but I was like, okay, if that's it, then okay, I could be okay with that. Because it was such a big question, like, who's Rey's parents?
Right.
And then you come to find out, if that's true, that they're just nobodies. I was like, oh, that makes complete sense, because that's what ends up happening at the end of The Last Jedi. You see Luke's story grow into legend to actually be part to grow the resistance.
So that's a good point, because like it was just really weird how he tells Rey basically they were just junkies. they were heroin addicts. They're dead. They're in a graveyard in Jakku. And I was like, all right, like you had to go that far. He didn't say. I mean, and then he's just like, and you're a nobody too. You're basically a nobody. You know what I mean? And so I just thought that was really, I mean, they answered that question. What else? There's so much going on in this movie. It's like, it's almost like Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, where they're all branching off, doing their own thing, and then they converge at the end, kind of thing. But let's go to like, I don't know. We could go through this movie, not like The Force Awakens, not like the first review we ever did. Let's go through the movie just little by little bit. So, in the beginning of the film, I'm glad it wasn't on a ice planet with AT-AT walkers. So that was good. But
that doesn't change. It was salt.
Yeah.
All they changed.
And it was
over
at the end of the
salt.
movie.
Yeah.
There, the little sleight of hand. But the beginning of the film starts with oh God, wasn't it the Resistance trying to escape essentially? And did it feel like to you? It felt like Battlestar Galactica to me. Part of this, because
it did a little bit,
because they're trying to get away from the First Order, like Battlestar Galactica is trying to get away from the Cylons, right? And there's that episode in Battlestar where they're jumping. Every so often they can jump, and then the Cylons would jump after them.
Right.
And so part of the problem that I had with this movie is that the First Order is following the Resistance, essentially. The Resistance can't make a jump because they can figure out where they're going to go. Somehow. They can figure out, they can track where they're going to go. So they jump once, the First Order shows up, and they're like, damn it, they can track us. Well, let's just keep going. So they're going, burning fuel, and the First Order is just out of reach to send a barrage of laser bolts, which are
that actually affect the shields.
They do and they don't, because they're just far. They say they're just far enough away that it's not really doing any kind of damage, but they are kind of like poking their shields. And I thought to myself, this is what you're going to do. You're just going to wait them out. Like, I thought, why don't you just make the First Order ships go faster to catch up to them and then barrage them?
How useless are TIE fighters? I just want to know.
Completely useless in this movie. They do nothing. They do send a lot more out, than usual. And oh my God, the Resistance lose so many people in so many different ways. They lose so many people. They're getting blown up by the First Order, the Dreadnought or whatever that ship is, which the bombers took out, and
there's.
Jesus.
So here's another nitpick I had with it, or not nitpick. This is a problem I have with this movie. Mm-hmm. One problem I have with this movie that I know for a fact I didn't like. Rose and Finn's entire storyline in this movie actually hurts the Resistance.
Yeah,
because if they never go out there, the First Order never finds out that they're escaping on the shuttles.
Yeah, because it is
because they never get the code breaker. They never do anything.
It's almost kind of an Indiana Jones factor to it, in that you didn't need Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
This is actually worse than
this
Indiana
is
Jones.
Worse
Because that would be like if Indiana Jones didn't do anything, and then because he did the thing that he did, the Ark actually killed some people more than Nazis.
Right. Yeah, because Finn and Rose basically leave and I love Rose's character, by the way.
I do like Rose's character.
Yeah, they leave to go on this crazy mission to some gambling joint to find a code breaker, a hacker, and they end up bringing Benicio del Toro back, whose character was really interesting. He like stuttered and shit. And
he reminded me a little bit of not Lando, not Is it Yondu? On Clone Wars?
Clone Wars, maybe.
And also Rebels?
A little bit, but he had like a speech impediment.
Yeah, but there was something about his character that reminded me of that guy.
I think it is Yondu.
Yeah,
I think it is Yondu.
Guy. But
they should have just made it Yondu. That would have been freaking cool.
That would have been awesome. Before I forget, this has nothing to do with it. I just remembered it right now, but I know I'll forget if I don't mention it now, is that Gareth Edwards is in this movie.
Oh, where did he play?
He was one of the trench soldiers in the Empire Strikes Back scene.
Oh, okay.
Don't tell me that's not fucking Empire right there. It's AT-ATs. Now AT-ATs are all walking on their knuckles.
Like gorillas.
Like I'm not going to know that's not a fucking AT-AT. You're walking on your knuckles. You're now slower. And instead of snow, it's a planet full of ice. Or I'm sorry, salt.
Salt.
And there's still a giant gate that closes where Leia's looking out at it.
Yeah,
that's fucking Empire.
It's just like in Hoth. Yeah,
yeah.
And then they had like what was that? They had a door breaker. It was like this round,
giant
thing.
cannon that I kind of like that. That was pretty
cool
because they said like they shrunk the technology of the Death Star. I'm like, oh, finally you're using the Death Star for something more practical.
Yeah, right. There's no trench to fly into,
yeah.
So that's
imagine
good.
You win the lottery. Imagine I win the lottery and I get the tumbler that I always wanted. And then I finally get the tumbler all built, customized, and all that shit, and then I ram it into a wall. That's exactly what the Death Star is every time.
Every time.
Starkiller Base, same fucking thing. They use it once, and then it fucking gets destroyed.
Because they don't protect it.
Right. Think about every Death Star that you've seen in the movies. They fire that fucking cannon once, and then it blows up.
Yep. At least I know in this movie they actually protect it with walkers. They're all bring it on, bitch, just come toward us.
Yeah.
And they come in those little junky speeder
like
things.
13 of them. 13 of them
going straight.
It was like they didn't even go like veer into the right.
They didn't even zigzag.
They didn't go veer into the right like Han did.
Yeah, it's. I thought maybe Finn was gonna die. I was like, I was okay with that.
Yeah, was just good.
I was actually okay with that.
I was like, yeah,
you're doing a Randy Quaid.
Your stories. If that was Randy Quaid, that would have been fucking awesome.
If he's like, fuck you. Yeah. No, up yours. That's what exactly.
It was. Yeah. Oh God.
So speaking of that,
there was a lot of wait before the Empire thing. Don't end there.
Oh,
the Empire parallel doesn't end there.
No, there's a lot of parallels between Empire.
Right when they're on Octo and Luke is like, "Don't go." I'm like, "Oh, there's."
That's Yoda telling Luke.
Oh, speaking of Yoda, that was pretty cool.
I had a big gripe about Yoda. When they first show him from the back, I went nuts because I was like, there's fucking Yoda.
Face.
And then when they showed the front, in the beginning, when they showed the front, I was like, that doesn't look right. Like, he looked weird. And then as the scene went on, I guess maybe it was the angle or it was the lighting or something like that. But as the scene went on, he looked like Yoda from Empire Strikes Back and from Return of the Jedi. He looked
what it was?
just like it. And do Force ghosts, they can hit you in the head? Like, I mean, in Return of the Jedi, you could sit on a log, you know, but in this movie, like, he's literally knocking Luke in the head.
Yeah,
and,
I don't know. Well, obviously, Yoda's more powerful than Obi-Wan was in the Force.
And here's the other gripe I have, and everyone out there is probably like, give me a fucking break. The movie was awesome. Okay. But there were times where I was watching Mark Hamill and not Luke. I don't know about you, but there were times where I was like, "That's Mark Hamill. It's not Luke Skywalker."
There were some things that bothered me about delivery in this movie.
Yeah, some of the lines he was way too he's way too loose.
Yeah.
I mean, it also reminds, like, you know, when you're watching Lord of the Rings and one of the orcs goes, "It's meat's back on the table, boys." I was like, oh Jesus, like that's a line
from
who
Pirates of the Caribbean
would say that.
That's more like Pirates of the Caribbean, right?
That's so anytime Mark Hamill would say some sort of quip, I was like, that's Mark Hamill. That's not Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I felt that too. I think I was like, please don't be Thor. Please don't be Thor. Please don't be Thor. That was what I was worried because it opened with like 2 or 3 jokes. I'm like, okay, this is enough. Stop.
Yeah. Oh, with the
and luckily they did.
And my least favorite character is even more my least favorite character. I can't stand Hux. I can't, and he's even worse in this movie.
Yeah, he's really bad in this.
I mean, his makeup even and his eyebrows are like helter skelter, and he's like all fucking weird looking. And isn't this like a day or two after Force Awakens? He looks completely different. And he's even I can't stand that.
It seemed like there was like 2 different timelines though.
It kind of felt that way.
Well, it actually what it felt like was that entire time that she's traveling to Octo, the beginning part of them chasing the resistance happens. So this is, and it didn't end the way that I don't know if it's because I didn't meet my expectations or my expectations were so high that I didn't like the way it ended. Like I liked the fact that Luke's legend grew, and that's the spark that is talking about the resistance, right? Because remember when they're on that planet, that kid actually shows power that he has the Force powers,
right?
But he is the one who recognized the resistance, which is actually the Rebel Alliance insignia, and recognized it and helped Rose and Finn out. I liked that part. I just didn't like the fact. I hated the way Luke dies. I hated it. I wanted to see like the fact that he could project himself through the Force. That was badass, right? But I still wanted to see Luke.
I expected him to live till the next movie.
Yeah.
If he died in a massive blaze of glory, I would have been happier with that. I think that's.
I would have rather him do that. I would have rathered him. Like I think instead of using the Force to do that, which shows how powerful he was, I would have actually liked it more if he was just standing there and doing all of that and actually taking, like, I wanted him to take down like the AT-ATs right then and there. And they say that like you would see Luke do something you'd never seen anybody do, and I was like, yeah, it was pretty cool. And I did cheer, but I actually got more goosebumps when Rey grabbed the lightsaber.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same. I didn't get the same feelings that I did in The Force Awakens.
No, they tried. There was a lot of forced moments. There was a moment where, when Chewie stole the AT-ST in Return of the Jedi. That moment was so badass. And in this one, they tried it with BB-8, and you saw it coming. You knew immediately when.
I thought there was supposed to be a showdown between them two as well.
Oh, BB-8 and the black BB-8.
Yeah.
I didn't see any of that. That little other droid was pretty cool looking, and the way it was like operating was pretty cool.
Right, yeah.
And then also they took Phasma out. They really treated her character poorly
throughout the 2 movies.
Yeah. They did not give her anything to do. And you thought, oh my gosh, like I can't wait for this showdown. And
because that was my favorite moment of the trailer.
Yeah,
that was my favorite part.
Yeah, yeah, because there were some inconsistencies the way it was filmed and edited too. I mean, like there was a scene where the executioner's about to kill Rose and Finn, and then the ship does light speed through the big ship, and everything explodes. And next thing you know, you see Finn and Rose kind of get up, and Phasma and the stormtroopers are really far away walking in, and I'm like, wait a minute, 2 seconds ago they were like right there.
Yeah, why would
How
they
did
be
they
marching?
get 100 feet away marching back? That's number one. Number two, I don't like the most goosebumps I got throughout the film was mostly when Leia was on screen, because a lot of her shit I thought was awesome.
She did stand. And I hate to say this. I hate to say this because I love Mark Hamill. I loved Leia's moments more than Luke's moments in this movie, and I felt like it was because when there was a joke like the Jakku joke when he was like, "Oh, that's kind of in the middle of nowhere." I was like, "That's
Mark Hamill."
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, yeah, that's Luke, but because you look like Luke.
Yeah,
but that was Mark Hamill.
I mean, it was interesting that he just like stopped doing the Force, essentially.
That's the thing that bothered me. That like when
so for 30
when
years,
Rey
he just sat there and
says
did nothing.
Right, when Rey says you closed yourself out to the Force, I was like, oh, cool. And I thought like it would be now his moment to like try to get through that to save the Resistance.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what I was like, all right, I want this like badass moment. And like, again, the using the Force to be that powerful in the Force to be able to project yourself into a place that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
You've never been to. And to project yourself and to know what is happening on the planet and be able to see, Leia and all that stuff. And I felt like it still wasn't enough. Like
No.
I didn't get that moment where I was like, when he took all the laser bolts, even though you didn't know at that point in time that he was just a Force projection.
Right.
When he took all those laser bolts, I was like, oh, this is what I've been fucking waiting for.
Yeah.
This is the moment. Like I wanted him like that Force Unleashed moment where you're taking, the part in the game where you take down a Star Destroyer.
I wanted him to lift up a walker and toss it.
Yeah, like I wanted
shit.
that moment. Like I wanted like I said again, the Force Unleashed moment where you pull down a fucking Star Destroyer.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I wanted that moment, like where Luke takes the Kylo Ren's shuttle and shoves it and takes out all the AT-ATs, and then he comes out of the wreck and he fights Luke one-on-one, and then maybe that's how Luke dies because maybe Rey comes in and tries to save him.
Right.
Like a fucking Optimus Prime hot rod moment.
I don't know. I felt that I don't think they gave Leia the send off that I liked either. I would have liked to seen her push the Lauren Dern character, Hondo or whatever her name was, out of the ship, and I would love to have seen Leia take that ship light speed through that fucking
That's
ship.
what I thought was going to happen.
Because I was like, that's a fucking way to go out.
Yeah, that's what I thought that was going to happen.
Passed on the leadership to her and say, hey, take care of this shit. You're next in line. And
yeah, but I think they already filmed the part where she was on the base.
They did, because I think, they've since said that, like, who's they? But they've since said that in episode 9, it was Leia's movie. She was supposed to be in it a lot.
Yeah.
And there was probably a scene where her and Kylo...
There was supposed to be a rumored scene where that Kylo Ren had a major confrontation with his mother, finally.
Yeah.
And it would have been awesome, like, thinking about the possibility of, like, a mother trying to either bring her son back at that point, or actually she admits in The Last Jedi that he's gone.
Yeah.
So that would have been an awesome moment where, like, so robbed of the moment of like Leia picking up a lightsaber and igniting it.
Yeah. Instead, we got like Force spacesuit floating through. That was so fucking weird.
It was weird.
She's like, she wakes. It was like Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like,
yeah.
She was Star-Lord right there for a minute. Only she was able to like
force
float,
pull herself.
Force float to the. I wanted to see her use the Force, not like that, not like that at all. I just thought that was so weird. Took me completely out of the movie. I mean, I was kind of staring around, and people were like,
"You know what they should have done?
Disbelief
if they would have,
face.
Yeah, exactly. If they, if they wanted her to be in a coma for like a little bit, they could have done it in a different way where you're just like, again, Star Wars is not science fiction.
No.
So that for Leia floating out into space, you're like, well, that's a little far fetched. Even for Star Wars, it's fucking far fetched.
Yeah, it is. There was a lot of far-fetched shit in this.
She has no subconscious training to be able to use that kind of power in the Force, right?
Yeah.
So what they could have done instead was just based on instinct. When the thing blew up, she holds the ship together while everybody goes to escape.
Yeah,
and then they pull that. She should have done that Like if they wanted to get her into a coma, instead of shooting her out into space and making it look really weird, they should have just had her force hold the explosion up against the wall while everybody escaped, and then they pull her aside, and because she's never used that kind of power before, then she passes out.
Right.
I would have been more okay with that, never seeing Leia ever do anything, but just based on instinct, she fucking does it, than her subconsciously force pulling herself from death from deep space. Like if she was passed out, she should have died.
Yeah, she should have died.
Right.
Not wake up in the middle of space going, oh shit.
She would have been a popsicle by now.
Yeah, she'd have been gone.
So I prefer my edited version of it, where she holds she uses the force to hold. She uses the force
to hold until she can get out of that area.
Yeah, and then again, because she uses so much power that she's never used before, she passes out.
Right.
More believable to me than the force subconscious pull.
I just would have loved to have seen her push Laura Dern into the ship transport. Get
using the force.
Yeah,
that would have been cool.
Get in there, and then she runs and because that scene where they light speed through the ship, I've never seen that before.
That was fucking badass.
Fucking cool. I was like, oh
and
my god!
For Laura Dern to have that good of a send off, and she just got into the universe.
I know. I'm like, oh, they should have kept her.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because the second you found out like what she was all about, you're like, oh, she's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I don't want you to die now.
Yeah.
But she fucking dies awesely.
Yeah, she does.
Her death was way better than Luke's. And I just met her.
Yoda's death was way better than Luke's.
Yeah.
Yoda's
death, Luke's death was Yoda's death.
I mean, I don't know. There was I felt like a lot of wasted opportunity, and there was a lot of stuff where they just kind of jam shit in there. Because, I mean, it's 2.5 hours, and they jam a lot of shit.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on here, and like I said, you cut that whole Finn and Rose thing, and there's 10 minutes right there. That whole mission completely useless.
It's completely useless.
All it was a way for
makes things worse.
All it was like a way for Finn to do something and introduces Rose's character.
Yeah.
Which if that's what they wanted to do, then give them some meaning to their mission instead of actually fucking the mission even further up.
Yeah.
Because if they don't go on that mission, more of those resistance people don't die. I mean, they said they had 400 people, 400 or 500 people when they started this movie.
Now they had like 20 at the end.
10 enough to fit on the fucking Falcon. That's how little of the resistance was left.
Yeah.
That there was plenty of room to fit in that training area where Luke trained with Obi-Wan.
And I'm sorry, but how are they going to fix this Carrie Fisher thing in episode 9? What are they going to do? She just dies off screen or some shit?
I have no idea.
Oh, she went to sleep. She didn't wake up.
Yeah,
she went out for an ice cream cone. We got this. Let's fix this before she gets back. The other thing, okay, so the two things that happened where I did not expect. Number one, Kylo basically telling her, "You're a fucking nobody. Your parents were nobody. They were."
But I did like that.
They were heroin dealers. I liked it, but at the same time, I was like, "Wow, I didn't expect that." And the other thing was Snoke being punked.
Oh, that was fucking awesome.
I mean, it was awesome, but there was a lot of moments in this movie that felt like it was a third movie, the last movie, not the middle movie. Like they did shit in this movie where it was like
they did stuff that was in Jedi.
They just killed Snoke just like that. Whoa, what happened? Like, okay, that was awesome. And then when they were fighting together, Kylo and Rey are fighting those Red Guards together.
That was awesome.
I was like, Jesus, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then
it's over.
I almost half expected Rey to go with Kylo, just like, you know what, fuck it, you're right. This place sucks.
It would have made for an interesting third movie, but they decided to kill Luke in this movie.
They decided to kill Luke, and they're making Ren the big bad. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but any fucker could take that guy on. He's a whiny little bitch.
He did get more powerful in this movie, though.
Yeah, but you don't see again. Like they in the Force Awakens, Snoke says, "Bring Kylo to me. I need to complete his training." Yet we don't see any of that. And this movie happens right after Force Awakens ends.
Right.
So we don't get the Rocky IV. we don't get the training montage. We don't get. I want to know more about the training. What is?
Was
Snoke
there even a third
for?
lesson for? There was 3 lessons that Luke wanted to teach her, right? Was there a third lesson?
I don't remember.
I don't think there was,
because I thought that was kind of weird too. It felt like he ripped off every other, movie that does that kind of thing. There was a lot of things in this movie where I'm like, okay, I've never seen this in a Star Wars movie.
It was more like Karate Kid than Rocky.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, I've never seen this in a Star Wars movie. I give them that, but it doesn't feel like Star Wars what they're doing. So,
and not in a good way.
No, not in a good way. I know that's so nitpicky. I know I need to probably watch this movie a few more times, but coming out of there, I did feel a
Sounds
little
like you had the
disappointed.
same amount of problems that I did.
No, I have a lot of problems, but there were also a lot of good things. There was a lot of things that I cheered a few times. I screamed out, "Oh hell yeah!" And clapped and shit. There was a lot more moments like that than in Force Awakens for sure. But I think overall, I think when the movie was done, there was a lot of times where I was scratching my head. I was like, "Really?
Yeah.
That's the way you're gonna go? All right, okay." And then so I'd be scratching my head and going like, "Okay, I'll accept that." Because I'm thinking right around the corner something fucking crazy is going to happen,
And it never does.
and it never does.
Yeah.
Like Luke, I thought, I don't know what I thought. I thought Luke was going to take down that squadron. I thought Kylo was going to go to the light side, and Snoke was going to be the big baddie. I thought all sorts of different shit. And now I'm like, what are they going to do in the 9th movie that is going to come to this crescendo or top all of this? I don't know. Because I don't like the way they went with this movie. I don't like the direction they went. So
and it's in
just,
JJ's hands. So
oh my
like,
God, he's got a way tall order now.
Don't give me Jedi, please. Don't give me Return of the Jedi. Please don't give me Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, and well now you have Rey and you got Kylo, and I mean what's inevitable is that she's going to cut him down. Who else is going to cut him down? Who else has the capacity to cut him down?
Well, now that you start this. You know what's interesting is that...
And Rey still didn't get any fucking training.
Well, here's what's interesting, how the movie ends. The movie ends with a younger generation having hope because the new order the new order or the First Order is now in power so there's these people that are suffering because of the First Order, right? Mm-hmm. So at the end of that at the end of the Last Jedi, you see the new hope coming, basically, pun intended. And basically I was like, what they could do?
They're ripping off Buffy the Vampire Slayer, essentially.
I was thinking, what did I think more of? I was thinking more of the Hunger Games, where Katniss sparks the rebellion.
Okay.
Basically. So, I thought that for Luke, like that was Luke's thing. I was like, oh, this is like the Hunger Games. Like they just didn't do the 3-finger thing.
Like 20 times in the movie. Too.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but I was like, okay, here's my thinking is they could actually fast forward the movie. Mm-hmm. So The Force Awakens takes place however many years after Jedi, 20 something years?
No, after Jedi, like
30 something years. It takes place afterwards, right? The Force Awakens and then to the Last Jedi take an hour.
An hour, yeah.
Right, not even. I'm guessing you can solve your Leia problem by having her die off camera.
Right.
You can actually, if you take the ending of The Last Jedi because you sparked that hope, you could take it to where now the First Order is the Empire, basically.
Yeah.
And Rey is a seasoned Jedi. Right.
Oh, you mean Return of the Jedi? Like where he like in Return of the Jedi, Luke is like full on fucking Jedi Master mode.
Yes. Like take it that far. That way you can have in the opening crawl that Leia died, or
passed,
or something, or there's something now like Poe is now now Poe is the Resistance leader.
That's a good point. Oh man, they fucking took Admiral Akbar out too. I was like, oh.
Yeah. They again,
they fucking take everybody out.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I feel like they're doing. Like, and that's what Kylo Ren actually says. I feel like when he says, like, kill the past. Yeah, kill the past. Leave it in the switch. Yeah. When he says that, I feel like the filmmaker is actually telling us, like, hey, we're not going down that path anymore, but you kind of are at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So yeah, but that would be funny if they do it because that would have been said here first.
That's
again, we are saying we were recording this.
I think you're right.
On a Thursday night, right after we saw The Last Jedi, and we were saying, I'm saying right now on Thursday, December 14th at 10:48 p.m. PST. I'm calling it. I think they fast forward the film.
Yeah.
The story. Yeah. And that's how they can probably not even have to CG Leia into it.
Right. Which they said they're not going to.
Right, so that would be a graceful way of doing it. It's a way to kill her off camera without actually killing her.
Right, and it'd be really hard to see her die, to be honest.
Yeah, like you could just
when that explosion happened, I thought, oh fuck, she fucking
this
died.
is how they die her. This is how they kill her.
Wow, I was like, Oh
Yeah,
my god!
I was
And then
like,
she
"Oh my God,
started
that's how-"
floating through, and I was like, "It's just
That's
like Thor jokes."
oh.
It completely
Well,
ruined the
when they
moment.
showed her when they showed her dying, I'm like, this isn't graceful. I want to see a fucking corpse.
She looks like Mary
I'm like, I
Poppins.
want to see a corpse. She's actually dead. Like, this is fucking bullshit. I don't want to see this. And then all of a sudden, her arm moves. I'm like, what's going on here? What
Yeah,
is this?
she looked like Mary Poppins.
Uh,
She was like floating through with her hand out like a wand and shit.
oh my God!
She was
yes.
pointing. She was just like pointing.
Oh,
What she
fuck.
was doing was force pulling herself to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
door,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it looked like she was floating. You know, all she needed was an umbrella, and she would have been Mary Poppins.
Oh God.
Which
Fuck.
you know, I'm just like, God damn it! Like we wanted to see her use force powers, just not like that.
So what you're saying right there, like what you just said, I think that's the problem I have with the movie the most is that I was expecting something biblical with Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
I mean, Luke Skywalker was like my greatest like hero on screen, more so than Indiana Jones and even like Optimus Prime. You know, Luke Skywalker was the guy.
Yeah.
Comes from nothing, becomes the most powerful person in the galaxy.
That's
right?
why Return of the Jedi, the beginning is so fucking good because you see what he becomes.
Right.
Like he's just a badass. He took on all those people.
Right. And
You know?
and in this one, again, what he does takes a lot. I'm guessing takes a lot of force energy.
Yeah.
Just the sheer magnitude of what he did, but at the same time, he just kind of he dies alone in the sun.
I know Han Solo gets punked. I mean, he spent the last.
But
few
even
years of
Han
his
Solo
life
didn't
being
die alone.
smuggler. Yeah, I mean, I half expected Luke to raise the X-wing out of the water,
Oh, that would have been fucking awesome.
and you know, and
Because that would have been such a great callback to Empire.
yeah, and he's just like, see Yoda, like, and then like look over at Ghost Yoda and go
Yeah.
like I finally did it.
Yeah, yeah,
You
that would
know?
have been great.
That'd have been a great nod.
When I saw the X-wing, when I first saw the X-wing, I'm like, oh, that's going to come into play.
Yeah, because I thought, you know, he's gonna raise that thing, he's gonna fly there, and then him and Leia back to back, you know, fighting stormtroopers and shit would have been
That
awesome.
would have been awesome if it was both Luke. That would have been a good way to kill Leia off right then and there.
Yeah.
Like Ben accidentally killing Leia while fighting Luke.
Oh yeah, like a laser bolt goes awry.
Like
and,
yeah,
hits
yeah,
her.
he deflects it and puts it right on
Oh,
Leia. That would have
shit.
been fucking
God
awesome.
damn it! You guys should have called us.
Yeah.
You could have CG'd her just for that. Would've been
Well,
alright.
yeah. I mean, because then you could have, yeah, you could have just reshot the ending.
Shit.
You could have reshot the.
But instead, I mean, the way they take out, like, I want to go back to
Did
Snoke.
that shot
Uh-huh.
shot that you see when Leia
Yeah.
is holding Rey's hand. Did you think of like Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper?
Yeah, yeah. When you look at, yeah.
I thought of the
Where
Last
is it?
Supper
Top
too. I
of
was
the
like,
Vatican?
oh, that's the Last Supper.
Yeah, they're just like dink, E.T. Ouch.
Who else did the Last Supper in the movie? I don't remember. But like, when they panned out like that, I'm like, oh, that's the Last Supper on the Millennium Falcon. I'm like, could you find any more ways to take me out of this movie?
Oh, the porgs too. I
wasn't a big
I'm
fan
not
of
a
the
fan
porgs.
Of the porgs.
I did laugh at the scene where like Chewie wanted to eat the porgs. I was like, yes,
That was funny, and I wish
Yeah.
he would have done it because
Yeah, I
that
would've
one
liked-
was like crying. It's
I
like,
was.
that porg was all crying.
I actually didn't eat dinner, so that was making me really hungry. I was like, I want pork.
Yeah, that looks delicious.
Yeah, like how did you get it so golden brown and looking crispy? Like, is there butter in Star Wars? Why aren't you
Chewie's a
eating one
chef.
of those? Why aren't
Chef
you,
Chewie.
why aren't you eating one of those pretzel things that Luke ate on Dagobah? 'Cause that's what it was, like a pretzel bar. It was like a pretzel bar or some
Like a
kind of
Twix
like
or something. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
A nougat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, they didn't really give. They're really phasing out the old characters. They didn't really give R2 anything to do either. Did he do anything?
No,
The one thing that he did do that brought that raised the hairs on the back of my head and brought tears in my eyes almost was when he played Leia's message. And Luke's like, oh, that was a dirty trick, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, I got all like goosebumpy. I was like, that's fucking
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
But
was
other
a
than
good
that, it was
scene.
kind of BB-8 show. I mean, BB-8 did a lot of shit in this thing.
Yeah, the last
He's
two
got
movies.
weapons. He's, like,
last two
shooting stuff
movies,
at it.
Luke, and even though Luke speaks in this movie, he doesn't really do a lot.
He doesn't do a lot. He's kind of like this old hermit, you know?
Yeah, but
He's not the Ben Kenobi at all. He's the anti-Ben Kenobi.
But here's the thing: is like just something about the way Alec Guinness carried Obi-Wan Kenobi. You didn't need to know what was going on with him beforehand,
No.
right? And they tell you what happens with Luke and why he, went to disappear. But at the same time, it's like I want more. That's not good enough for me. I'm not good enough to see my childhood hero die alone on a cliff and
Right.
just Force disappear because he projected
Right.
himself. Like I wanted to see that. I wanted to see the X-wing come out. And again, I don't know if I don't like the movie because it wasn't good or because I was expecting something more.
I'm still gonna hold true and say like I did like it. I'm still gonna hold true and say that it was good, but holy crap, there was so much. I mean, they could have made this thing go over the top with some of the shit that we're talking about. Where
Yeah.
I'm like, if I saw that, I would have jumped out of my seat.
There was doing well. They did things with the Force, like not just the Leia scene, but I'm like, when you find out Snoke was the one that connected them to, and I'm like, through the Force, I'm like, you could do that.
Yeah,
He like wiretapped the Force.
I get. He's the government. He's like, I'm listening in on your conversations.
So, yeah, he's in a white van with headphones on.
Yeah.
The white van says like bakery.
Yeah.
First
First order bakery.
Bakery. The best pretzel sticks you ever ate on Dagobah.
Yeah. Go get your death sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. He. So I guess so. What that solved a mystery there, where he connected him. I mean, I still don't. Who the fuck is Snoke? Who is this guy?
Remember, there was like some
Who
stories.
is he?
Remember the part of the story when they were coming out before the movie came out. One of the stories was like, it doesn't matter who Snoke is. Like that was one of the stories. Like
Well,
his
I
backstory.
guess.
I'm like, well, here's why. Because you fucking killed him.
I mean, the way he died was epic.
Oh, the way he died was fucking awesome. And I'm like, I just
It
just
felt
saw
like
you in human form.
It just felt like it was a third movie, though. It felt like a third movie.
Yeah, like there was something missing. Like there should have been more. Like I definitely love the way that I was like, oh, that's way better. Luke should have did that instead.
Yeah, just turns it on.
Yeah, I was really sneaky of him too.
Yeah, I mean, he just. I mean,
And
well,
then he cut
Snoke
him in
was
half. I was like,
punking him.
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, and then of course he did do the thing that I kind of half expected was that okay, I killed like Sith always kills the leader and then they become the leader.
Right.
So like he was sick of Snoke's shit. He's just like fuck this.
He basically called me a bitch like right in front of everybody.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna kill. But I mean, some of the stuff he said kind of made sense too. He's just like kill the past. He's like, let's just kill Luke, kill this person, fuck it.
Well, did you
Let's
figure?
let's just rule the galaxy.
Did you pick up on the political aspect of this movie?
Oh yeah, I mean it's all over the place.
It's when they were like when Benicio del Toro was like, "There's no good and bad.
There's no good.
Like, don't choose a side. Just don't do anything, and let them like just fuck it up like themselves."
Yeah,
you know,
pretty much. He's like, just go live.
and that's
go live free over here.
Yeah, it's like if you don't give a shit, you're free.
Yeah.
But like, but it was, but also what Kylo Ren was saying too is like, no, don't be part of the Resistance or part of the First Order.
Yeah,
let's just do our own
thing.
Yeah, but still, he was like,
me.
but I like the part where, yes, again, that's fucking Jedi. That part right there, where he's like, let's do it together, and together we'll rule the galaxy. We'll make
Right.
it. We'll make it the way we want to see fit. I was like, that's Revenge of the Sith. Now you're just pulling from all Star Wars,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But I like the part where Rey comes, like she starts tearing up, and she cries a lot in this movie. she's like almost I think she might match like Tobey Maguire in like a type of movie like this. But I like the part where she says, don't do this, like because she knows where he's gonna go, what he's gonna say.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
He started
that
being
scene was
the
pretty
whole
well.
absolute shit.
Yeah, and like after she thought she brought him back from the light. And now there's that disappointment in his face, in her face,
Yeah.
when she sees that he's just going back,
And so
and
they
it was just to kill Snoke.
They tear the damn lightsaber apart. That was fucked up.
That was awesome
Yeah.
because now I'm like, oh, she's gonna build her fucking own because you saw the kyber crystal. Did you see the kyber crystal that he had hanging up in his
Yeah.
in his room?
We don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I don't know
They
where that came from either.
they don't ta- they don't
wait,
talk
it
about
might be
it.
from his green lightsaber
Maybe
because he maybe disassembles it after what he tried to do with Ben.
it's orange or red though. Looking. That's what
Yeah, it
looked
might
like
have
to me.
like faded, but yeah, there was a kyber crystal in there, probably from his Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, because you never see his grand lightsaber past the part where, boy, when they flash back and he's like killing, he went to go kill Kylo Ren. That was crazy. I was like, well, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, but that was Kylo Ren's interpretation. What actually happened was like he was going to kill him, but then decided not to.
He hesitated.
And then he woke up where, where it was almost like a Three's Company moment.
It was a sitcom moment
Yeah,
where he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
he's like, oh, I'll just, I'm not gonna kill him. And
I
the
won't
guy's
do
like,
it.
you're gonna fucking kill me? Ah, I got
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And he's like, no, wait, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
It's too
Yeah.
late.
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely a sitcom moment. I was like, this shit happens like on the first season of a brand new sitcom. Like it's probably happened on like Modern Family, like multiple
Oh
times
yeah,
already.
we never see the Knights of Ren.
No, that's another
that
thing.
was disappointing,
yeah.
too.
And I was like, well, what happened to all the Knights of Ren? Where
Because
the fuck are they?
because I don't know, when I saw the behind the scenes of like Ray fighting multiple stunt people, I was like, oh shit, like
No, that was just
I thought her
Praetorian
and Luke were
guards.
gonna be. I thought her and Luke were gonna be fighting off people, but it didn't happen.
No, it was actually Kylo Ren and Rey.
Yeah, which scene was so.
That scene was pretty bad.
It was cool. I mean, you've looked at the past lightsaber fights and you look at the ones now and you're like, wow, that didn't look choreographed at all. It
No,
looked like it
like
was
a real
fucking
lightsaber
crazy.
fight. Yeah,
Yeah.
When she dropped that lightsaber in slow mo and killed that guy, and then like forced through it to Kylo.
Yeah.
And he fucking turned it on. And all he did was just turn it on. I was like, oh my! I yelled a little bit for
I
that.
did
So
too.
that was pretty bad.
I was like, yeah, Team America.
Yeah, and then he fucks it up 5 minutes later.
Yeah, he's just like,
he's like, oh, let's rule the galaxy together. I'm like, oh, I've seen this movie before. She's gonna say no. It's happened in every other movie.
Yeah.
Actually, the only person it didn't happen to was Anakin.
Right.
Because Anakin's a dumbass.
He's like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Let's go together.
Yeah, let's try to save my pregnant wife by choking her. By force choking her. Like the whole reason for you to turn to the dark side was to save her life, and you fucking choke her. The fuck? You idiot.
And then later on, he's all crying.
Yeah, he's like, and then the vision he sees is actually, he should have realized right then and there that it was him, right? And not fought Obi-Wan. Like right then and there, he should have been like, oh fuck, I'm the one who kills her.
Oh, speaking of Obi-Wan, I half expected Obi-Wan and Anakin and a whole bunch of people to show up on the island, and only Yoda does. And I'm like, so you just been talking to Yoda this whole time? Where's everybody else?
Yeah.
Because I half expected his dad to show up, Hayden Christensen, and be like, hey, what's up? Or,
with a cigarette in his mouth.
Yeah. He's
going
like,
on?
love retirement. This is great. I love how I became
sand.
evil. And
There's no sand in the Force.
I love how I became evil. And then, when I died, I'm still young. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm the only one.
Yeah. Yoda, you look like a fucking prune.
Yeah. Obi-Wan, you can't even see him anymore.
Yeah. I don't know. Some of the stuff just kind of felt forced like that. He goes to burn the tree down, and Yoda's like, "Let me do this for you."
Yeah,
he's like, "This is all bullshit."
Hold my beer.
Yeah.
I'll flick a finger. I'm like, fuck. And if you could flick a finger, why don't you fucking help him on the second Death Star?
Yeah, exactly.
What the fuck is
Because
that
they said, we can't interfere. Oh no, that was an Empire. Never mind.
Exactly.
Where he's like, I'm gonna go fight my father. And Obi-Wan's a dick. He's like, well, I can't help you.
Yeah.
I'm like, what rule is that? Where's that rule book?
He must have misread one of those old books in the tree.
Yeah. You can't help anyone if they're running off to fight evil.
Yeah.
You're like
The evil that will destroy the entire galaxy. You got to be hands off.
Yeah.
You're really powerful. More powerful than you could have possibly imagined. But so let me get this. Vader should have been like, so let me get this straight. You're going to be more powerful than I could possibly imagine, but you're not going to interfere. Everyone's like, nope.
So
like,
how
right,
powerful are you? You can make a collect call once in a while from the Force. Like what?
I'm going to cut you down then. There's no skin off my back.
Right.
I don't care how. So it doesn't matter how powerful you become. You're just not going to do anything about it. Right. Okay, I'm good. We're good. We're good with killing you then.
We're okay.
We're okay. If all you're gonna do is sit on a log and talk to people, we're good.
Yeah. So Luke expends so much energy that he just fucking dies.
Becomes one with the Force. But it doesn't matter because now he's not going to be able to interfere either. He's going to sit. He's going to sit.
He's going to talk to Rey.
Don't sit on a rock. Don't sit on a rock. Don't sit on a like. If you're really going to fucking pull from like Return of the Jedi, have him sit on like a swivel chair.
Yeah.
Just go all in.
Or just have him float around. That was kind of cool watching him float. But he could still come back in 9 and talk to Rey and shit as a Force ghost. That's about it.
Yeah, that's fucking Jedi.
But then that's like a total, cop out because we could have seen him. I really would have expected him to be fucking tearing shit up as Luke.
I
Like the
I
whole
wanted my Rogue One Darth Vader moment.
yeah. I wanted that too so bad. Like I just wanted him through the whole movie, do the whole blocking the Force thing, whatever, that's fine, and then unleash it at the end.
Yeah.
You know, and but then again, I think he could have defeated Kylo easily. I think he just with a flick of his finger could have defeated him.
Well, I mean, he projected himself onto a planet that he didn't even been to.
That's cool, but
No, I'm
don't
saying
you
that's how
think-
powerful he is.
right? But don't you think like Kylo Ren is like every like Marvel villain? He's just not that difficult to beat.
He's like,
You know, he's not Thanos. Supreme Snoke felt like Thanos to me. I was literally scared for Rey when she was in there, and he
Yeah.
was just tossing her around like nothing.
because he already bitched Kylo Ren in the earlier.
Oh
scene,
my
too.
god! I mean, he was
He
just
didn't
like,
even like. He didn't even think twice.
he didn't even
about,
sweat. He didn't even sweat using the Force.
No, he
he's just like all over the place.
Yeah, it showed actually he might have been even more powerful than the Emperor.
Oh, way more powerful.
Again, even though the way that he died was really cool,
Yeah, I don't think
when
that
you
would
set the bar that high.
because he was basically saying is like, oh, I control Kylo. I just like my fucking puppet, basically.
yeah.
You know, and then he just does this little thing where he makes the lightsaber turn on. I mean, the death was cool, but it felt like a third movie death to me. It felt like, you know, he was
After you got enough time to hate this guy.
right. You need time to hate this guy. You don't really get that time at all. He gets punked. He totally gets fucking punked. And then I half expected him to wake up, like he, you know, because he got his wound cauterized and he's an alien being.
Like Darth Maul.
Yeah, so like he lived through it, but then like, you know, has some contraption to make him like badass. So
It seems like there's no.
where are
there's
they going to
no-
go from here is what I'm saying. Like, how is Kylo really going to be this like formidable to me? He doesn't feel formidable to me.
You can fast forward it again. Like I said, like if the whole part about it, because they have to replenish their numbers. There's only like fucking 12.
I know.
Right. So fast forward the film, fast forward the series,
And it's built-
Have
Different star systems have built up.
Have those people that now exhibit the Force powers to come out.
Right.
I'm
telling you, it's like Buffy. It's like Buffy.
Wow. Yeah.
Because at the very end of this Buffy, she sends the power goes to all the girls in the world to fight vampires.
Right.
If you remember right. Like all the girls get the power or get the calling. So that's what it felt like to me. I mean, it was cool to see that kid like grab a broom with the Force. I was like, oh shit, that's cool.
Yeah,
like
but that's that moment where I'm like, okay, let's see the movie 20 years from now with a seasoned, you know, Rey and a much calmer. And
well,
more
it'll be like
mature,
5 years or something, you know.
Well, enough for
3
that kid
years.
to grow up and be able to actually be useful.
Yeah.
Not like Anakin getting in the way.
He's shoveling shit with the Force.
What an underachiever.
Yeah. I mean, that dude, that monster comes out. He's like, bruh, 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 you know, it basically goes sweep some shit.
Yeah.
I would have force choked him, you know, like,
Exactly. Then he would have joined Kylo.
yeah, that's true.
not
Yeah,
Rey.
but Luke used force choke on Gamorrean guard, so,
That's
and Jabba's palace.
true, but like to do it to a janitor guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have liked to have seen something. I would like to have seen Luke do anything other than project himself.
He basically was a hologram.
I would have liked him like electrocute, send electrocution out, or
He hollow viewed himself. Basically.
he did hollow viewed himself. And the other thing is that I don't know why I didn't see that coming because he looked different. His hair was cut,
I was like, all right.
and his
he cut
uniform was
hair.
different, and he had his lightsaber with him. And I was like, wait a minute, where would you get that
Rey-
lightsaber?
Didn't Rey just rip that in half?
Yeah, exactly. So I was
like,
like,
oh my God,
I was
this
like
is a really
something.
major fuck up.
Yeah, I'm like something. It should have been his green lightsaber. It should have been something else to make you even further. Because I knew something was up. I'm like, something's not right here.
This better not end the way it's going.
Yeah.
This better not be happening right now without an explanation. And then, like, when you find out that I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, wait a minute. That's what kills him?
Yeah.
I'm like, my childhood hero dies because he overexerted himself. Fucking kidding me?
Shit. He's like, oh.
He's out of shape and he ran a mile. That's why he died.
That's essentially it.
Yeah.
He ate too many porgs. He ate too many donuts. He was fat.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean,
Oh my God.
I need to see this a second time because right now this movie's not doing too well for me.
But you're right. That whole gambling joint thing was way over the top
that
and
was-
not necessary.
Completely unnecessary. It actually hurts the resistance.
Yeah. And also, like, some of the cameos, like the Maz Kanata cameo, I didn't see the point in that.
Either, yeah.
That was
Wasn't a
kind of
big
weird. It felt like a video game, video clip in between levels or something like that.
Yeah, it seemed like
They tried to jam too many things in here.
I don't. I wish they did better with the toys that they had.
Yeah.
I was really. I think I'm disappointed in this movie, man. Like on first viewing, I'm pretty disappointed.
Yeah, especially when I get it. I mean, the what came close was the whole Rey and Kylo fight was the closest that came to me where I was like, this is really fucking cool. Like I did
Yeah.
not expect this.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the film was just a lot of like I was literally scratching my head, going like, did they like like when I first watched Phantom Menace, where I was like, I think I like this. I don't know. I'm not sure.
This is not.
This
gonna
is
end up being
weird.
Like the Phantom Menace for me.
Yeah,
But it is going to. I think, like we always say, like lost opportunity for me.
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a major lost opportunity with how you could have had Luke go out and blaze a glory, and you could have went back and not fixed, but you could have had Leia not use a force pull while should have been frozen to death in deep space.
Yeah,
we don't
that
do
took
that.
me so far out of the movie, and like to the point where like 20 minutes later, I was still thinking about it and not paying attention to what was
Yeah.
going on,
Yeah,
and that bugged me.
I mean, there's been times where we see things in the movies where we're like, oh, I've never seen the Force or the lightsaber do that,
Right.
right? But but to subconsciously force pull yourself when you should be a frozen popsicle in space.
Well, there is no explosions in space as well, but
Yeah,
that's
again, Star Wars is not
science fiction,
but
right?
still-
Star Trek is.
still. There's common ground here. When you get jettisoned into space, you should be dead.
Right.
And don't tell me it's the Force saving her because she's never been trained to use the Force.
Not that we know of. I mean, 30 years.
Again, the
we
way
don't
that
know.
I depicted it would have been more believable than her subconsciously force pulling herself out of deep space.
Right. But whatever.
Whatever. And now this guy has an entire trilogy to play with.
Yeah, which could be interesting. I mean, at least that you won't have any kind of. I mean, we'll have different type of nitpicks.
You know what I like the best about this? There's a clear difference between how the original characters are treated and how the new characters are treated.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're trying to make a transition into it, but I just wish they would bring them along for the transition to let them go out gracefully.
Right.
Han, I didn't mind the way he died. I thought his story, like how he should have died in Jedi, it completes his character.
Okay, so I did and I didn't. What I didn't like about his death is he didn't get a chance to reunite with Luke.
Right.
I really wanted to see.
I hated that part.
So, but
But as far as him dying the way that he did, I thought that was a good way to do it because that's a way of bringing like the old with the new. With killing off Han, you now have his son Kylo Ren complete his journey to the dark side.
right.
Right. So I thought that was good for the story. But the way like Luke died, even though there's that that kid telling the story about the legend of Luke Skywalker, the second legend of Luke Skywalker now. I felt like he still should have gone out a better way.
Yeah.
Because what they were telling the legend, they're not telling the part where, he really wasn't there. They're telling the part where he was actually thinking that he was there and took out the entire thing. But the reality sucks.
Right.
It's like finding out like if I don't know, like finding out Santa Claus isn't real. Like the legend is better than the reality. Because in reality, again, all he did was hollow-view himself.
Right.
Right.
And he hollow-viewed himself to the where he was just like walking in the cave. I'm like, why'd you hollow yourself there? And then he comes in, and he sits down next to Leia, and he's talking to her. And I remember thinking to myself, I think that's a hollow. I think that he's projected himself because they've already established in the movie that you could project yourself because Kylo and Rey have all those conversations through the whole movie.
Right.
So when he shows up through the cave and starts talking to Leia, I'm like, he's not really there because they also did this thing where like you don't see anybody else around them. It's almost like they tuned everybody out and they're just having a private moment together. And I was like, I think he hollowed himself there. But then when he was outside, I didn't see that coming for whatever reason. I was like, oh, he's just outside. He's going out there to talk to the guy. I didn't realize like, oh, that was a hollow too. Like he never was there at all.
Yeah.
And
when we say hollow view, we really mean force
imaged him. Yeah, whatever. I was like, oh, that's different.
Yeah.
And then like the fact that Kylo couldn't like detect that wasn't really him. I thought with the Force you could detect other Force users. And so the fact that like he can't detect
Well,
a hologram
emotion
there.
plays, and you can talk out of that by just saying like emotions always cloud your judgment,
Yeah.
and that's been a theme in Star Wars too. So you could say that, you know, clouded his judgment, but at the same time, like I really did want to see Luke pull that X-wing
Right,
out.
and some of the jokes are not going to be successful the second time around when we watch the movie, because when they shoot the shit out of him with the walkers and then he comes out and he like brushes his shoulder off, I cheered because I thought he was really there.
Yeah,
Now that I know he's not there the next time around, I'm gonna be like, that's a pretty lame joke, because it only works if you're there when you do that little brush off your shoulder thing,
On
oh
second
that
viewing.
right. So the second viewing is not going to have that impact at all, because I already know he's not there. Yeah, if he was there, I'd be like, that was a pimp move, because he hit himself. He was able to dodge it or get out of the way and then come back out of the
It would have
smoke.
been so awesome if he actually, again, my version. I'm liking my Last Jedi version better.
Oh, when he just fucking
if he was
rips
just
the AT-ATs up.
there and just pulls that shuttle down, just imagine him just holding his hand up and pulling that shuttle down and then just knocking all the AT-ATs over, and then him and Kylo Ren fight, and then Kylo accidentally kills Leia.
Right.
And then that's when Ben just can't take it and he just takes off by himself while Luke tends to Leia.
Right.
And then Luke has, because again, you could have reshot that a little bit somehow. I don't know what it is, but like I didn't see any CG in this movie that said like she didn't finish the movie.
Yeah.
So they have to really do something for the next movie to figure out.
There's a lot of, I'm sure, extra scenes.
I like my version
somewhere.
too of whatever the next movie is.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've read some articles saying like she's not in the next movie like at all. They're not even going to take additional scenes they had from this movie to put in there.
So then
there's
my
nothing.
way of thinking it might actually
Fast forward it, have her die, like have them at the beginning of the movie mourn over her.
Yeah, or something.
And then they're like,
Poe,
okay,
like, looking at a picture of her.
yeah,
While
or at a graveside or something, you know.
Something where, like, you know, and then acknowledge, like, yeah, she would have been really proud of you right now, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because they felt like they had a really close relationship.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I loved her scenes with Poe. I thought they were great.
Yeah.
Gosh, what else could we say about this movie? There's so much going on. I'm sure we'll be talking about this movie for a really long time, at least up until the 9th one comes out. Because I really, like, after watching this, I was like, man, Ryan really painted JJ into a ton of corners. I don't know what he's going to do for the next one, or to make it interesting or exciting.
Give me Return of the Jedi.
No Ewoks?
Don't give me a fucking don't give me a second Starkiller base.
No, this time they gave you like 2 huge dreadnought ships or whatever they're called, like Snoke ship and then this other one.
Well, basically, it's in that sense, it's Empire. The whole thing it's based on a cat and mouse game.
Yeah,
and like that was what that movie was about too.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I thought the First Order could just speed up their ship and then blow them out of the sky. It would have been over with. Instead, they just kept their distance and just like, oh, we'll just wait for them to run out of fuel.
They're faster. It's basically like a Mack truck keeping up with like a Camry. Like, it's not.
Hey, call in some reinforcements. They have tons of ships. Call in some reinforcements to go get them.
You know they don't have any fucking like fighters.
Hey, send like 50 TIE fighters over there.
You already destroyed all their X-wings in the thing.
Send 50 TIE fighters to barrage that ship like crazy.
You could do that, no
Game
problem.
over.
Yeah, exactly. Like how you have an entire fleet of TIE fighters.
Yeah, just go over there and shoot the shit out of it.
Or just send Kylo Ren out in his fucking ship. Like,
yeah.
They're talking about, like, you know, having cover for them. What cover do they need? There's no ships.
Yeah.
There's no ships.
I know.
It was the carrier that Leia was on, and it was a medical frigate and some other like counselor ship.
I would have liked to have seen. So you know, there was a scene where Kylo is about to take his mom out, but he doesn't. He pulls his finger off, which I knew that was going to happen. And then somebody else shot it and blew it up. Yeah. I would have loved to have seen Kylo go like shoot that guy down, just like you son of a bitch.
Or force pull both of them together.
Oh yeah, that'd have been cool. Yeah, that'd have been so cool. Yeah, but instead he's just like, oh damn, my mom died. Yeah. Crap. Oh well, let's keep going.
There's a lot of those
Snoke up close looked good. When he was walking, he looked really awkward. It looked really freaking weird. Yeah. And we were watching this thing on IMAX, so you know, I'm staring at this thing, going like, I was really critiquing, the Snoke. I was like, because he's a completely CG character.
Yeah.
And when he was walking around, I was like, this looks terrible. And then when he was sitting down or like when they zoomed in on his face, it looked pretty good. I was like, shit, that's really, really good. Looks good. But I don't know. It's a cop out. There's several things that are copped out. One, we don't, Rey's parents were just nobodies. I mean, apparently, if that's true.
If Kylo's telling the truth.
And taking Snoke out like that. Because I thought Snoke was fucking scary. I thought he was scarier than the Emperor. I was like, holy shit.
Because the Emperor never lost to school until the very end.
No, this guy was like, he was pure evil.
You actually you see the Emperor use the Force twice.
Yeah.
At first, it was to unbuckle the restraints. And then the second was the lightning.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And he does the exact same thing here, though, too. He unbuckles, he shoots lightning.
Well, he never shot lightning at
it was just a fast lightning. Who did you shoot lightning at?
That was Kylo Ren in the beginning of the movie. He never shoots lightning at
that's
Rey.
right. That's
but
right.
He throws her around like a fucking rag doll.
Yeah, like nothing. Like his fingers. He's even breaking a sweat. He was wearing that gold robe. That was weird.
It's gold, member.
Yeah, exactly. I like gold.
Or in our version, it's Mick.
It's Mick. They just needed a beanie.
I was thinking like
a
beanie, like instead, like how like they flip up the Jedi robe.
Yeah,
he flips it up. It's like it's a beanie that goes on his head.
Oh man! All right, so let's go over our as we usually do. We go to diversity ratings, which I don't know. It's been a while since we explained what that is, but essentially, there's 3 different ratings. One is Casper, which means it's white as hell.
White as a ghost.
Right. And then there's Jan Brady, which is the middle Brady Bunch daughter, Marsha. So, Jan Brady means there's somewhat diversity. Yeah. And then plethora, taken from one of our favorite movies, Three Amigos, that means quite a bit of diversity.
Yes.
So I thought this movie was pretty diverse.
Yeah, it's pretty...
like a Jan Brady plus or plethora minus or something. It was like
plethora.
Yeah. They finally gave an Asian person their due, which is pretty cool. Twice, yes.
Sister dies to save him in the beginning.
Yeah, which is pretty sick, but really sad.
Cool. Yeah, it was really cool though.
Really, really cool.
But Rose is, like I said, I really liked Rose. I liked Kelly Tran is her name, right?
Kelly Marie Tran, yeah. She's fantastic in this.
She's great in this. I just hate their story.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you actually hurt the Resistance, which kind of sucks.
I like that she saved Finn's ass
multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how she's just all in.
She's just like, it's not about. She has a great line too. It's like, it's not about something. It's about the people we love. It's not about.
It's not about sacrifice.
It's not about sacrifice. Yeah, it's something. It's a really great line.
Sacrificing yourself. It's about saving the people you love.
Yeah, something like that. I thought that was really great.
Yeah, that was. I like her.
Yeah,
in it. I just didn't
definitely a love interest for him too. So I mean, there's
kind of a triangle thing going.
That was that weird. That was this weird. Yeah, but she smiled. She smiled like, cool.
Was it?
It looked like to me that was not a jealous look.
I thought of like my crazy super ex girlfriend. Uma Thurman.
She like just force chokes Rose like in her sleep.
Yeah. I was thinking,
like oh, she died. That's weird.
You don't want to make. I mean, you just saw what Rey did to those boulders, right? Do not piss her off.
That was awesome.
Do not piss her off.
She's like, I lifted rocks.
Now imagine those boulders are your balls. Don't fuck with her. I don't care how much you love Rose. It's not the same Rose from the Titanic. Leave her the fuck alone.
He goes to get in his ship and it's just crumbled. Yeah. She fucking thrashes it.
Yeah. There's like another X-wing sticking out of it.
Yeah. Throws a sea monster in his bed, He's like, what the hell, man? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with that. But usually Jedi are pretty much like they don't
She's not a Jedi, though.
No. She's something,
Jedi.
But he
and
said,
you still don't know why.
But he does say he's like, I'm not the last Jedi. There is another one, or there's
going to be,
or maybe he's pertaining to everybody. I guess, or he's like, I'm not going to be the last one.
But the fact that they never go back to why she dives into the dark side so easily. Because in the beginning, Kylo talks about it too.
Yeah.
it's the same look in your eyes that I saw in the forest or whatever, the woods or whatever.
Right.
Like that she was in the dark side, so
Yeah.
like, he could feel it too. Anyway, so I'm gonna go with plethora for diversity.
Cool. I'm gonna go with plethora as well.
What's your rating?
This is a tough one. Okay, so as of right now, watching this, I'm thinking 3.5 for me. 3.5 out of 5 chainsaws for me.
I'm gonna go a solid 3
Oof.
for the Last Jedi, 3 lightsabers.
Okay, so I want to do something we haven't done before. I'm going to put you on the spot, or I could go first. But let's rank all. How many movies are there now? 9. I think that's including Rogue One, correct?
Right.
Okay, so including Rogue One, how would you rank the? And I can go first if you want. But how would you rank the Star Wars movies?
Well,
Gun to your head.
probably Empire's still number 1. Um, and New Hope, Jedi are basically tied for me growing up because I loved the Vader Luke fight so
Okay.
much growing up. It was really impactful to me. Um, After that's probably The Force Awakens. Actually, no, I think it's probably Rogue One, then The Force Awakens, and then probably this,
Mm-hmm.
and then probably the prequels, which would be 3.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, yeah.
I'm pretty similar. I have A New Hope first. I have it the way that I watched it. So 4, 5, 6 for me, and then I would say Rogue One, TFA, and then Last Jedi, and then 3, 2, 1 as well.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, but
kind
again,
of similar.
but again, like the same reason why I have A New Hope and Jedi tied
Mm-hmm.
is the same reason why you have A New Hope first.
Right.
You grew up watching it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
That was my. I mean, it's
I
still
always
my.
thought A New Hope was boring growing up.
Yeah.
And then when you see Luke become the Jedi Knight,
Yeah,
like,
that's
was
where it
always,
starts
like,
kicking
really-
ass.
That was more impactful for me as
Right.
as a kid. I mean, film wise, A New Hope is a way better film.
Yeah.
There's no Ewoks in it, which is good. but it holds a special place for me. But yeah, I'm disappointed in this movie right now. So
Man, we're way too hard on movies.
maybe
I think it's just watching way too many movies. We got kind of jaded, but again, I don't hate
takes
that.
a
I
lot
don't
to
hate this
surprise
movie.
us.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I don't hate this movie. I think over time, I think this is one of those movies over time for me where I'm really gonna like analyze it and probably enjoy certain scenes and for what they are. But there was a lot of stuff in this that did not need to be in it. It could have cut a lot of the fat out. And plus, there was moments where there were moments where I was like, "Oh, dude, I've always wanted to see that. That's so cool." But there was way more moments where I was like, "Why didn't they do this instead? That would have been so goddamn badass."
right.
It's almost like they were holding back. I felt a little bit. They didn't let loose.
Well, there were some things where they let loose on that I wish they didn't let loose on.
Well, I mean, killing Snoke and killing Phasma and
The Phasma death I had
Killing us
less
some-
of an issue with than
it was still stupid. I was like, what was the point of this character to begin with? You didn't need this character at all.
no, not
At
really.
all.
And there's a really unwittingly like hatred for Phasma.
Yeah.
Like, there's no. I don't know the reason why he hates Phasma so much, other than the fact that she was the boss.
Yeah.
Maybe, but
Yeah, you don't
but
get
you
any
don't see
indication.
like a very big conflict. They have that one interaction right after they destroy the village, right?
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, I was like, she's just a normal commander. Like she didn't ask for anything
And then,
like weird.
and then-
but he fucking hates her.
Yeah, she knocks him, and she knocks. I thought like he fell, and then when he kind of floated up, like Back to the Future, like Marty McFly's on the DeLorean flies up and hits Biff with the door. I was like, really? That's how you're gonna do this? Like, okay, whatever. Yeah, and they just punk Phasma. They just punk her big time.
Yeah, it was my favorite shot in the trailer, and to have her die that way.
And you never get to see her with the helmet off. You see her
Yeah,
the eye. I thought, oh shit, that's cool.
When he hit her with the executioner thing, I thought that it was going to you would see her face. She would take the mask off.
Or the ship was breaking apart, so she runs off in another direction and takes off. Like,
Right.
okay, we'll see her in the 9th movie. That was another thing. A lot of coincidences. Movie. The biggest coincidence one for me was that Rose and Finn are inside this. They're inside there. Everything is destroyed because Hondo or whatever her name is just light speeded through the big ship. Everything's destroyed, but there's a perfect shuttle right at the edge of the,
at
the doorway. And I was like, oh, that's really fucking
and there's
convenient.
like a nice, convenient path
that goes all the way there.
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
I was like, really? Okay. So there's shit like that I was like, that's, oh my God. Like, is this a DC movie? What the fuck? It's way too many like coincidences and stuff like that.
So look,
anyway,
if we could be this critical about Star Wars,
and we fucking love Star Wars too, like so much.
You have to know Justice League sucks really bad. If we're kind of shitting on Star Wars, just imagine how shitty.
I'm sure one day we'll revisit this movie, just like we did.
I'm sure
Force
we'll talk
Awakens.
about it for until the
and
next movie
nauseam.
comes out. Like I'm just gonna nitpick the shit out of this movie.
Yeah.
I fell asleep, but I force pulled myself into the other room, did a sandwich subconsciously.
Yeah. Force projection. Yeah. All right. Well, anything more to add?
No, I think for now.
Save that for another day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still like dumbfounded at how I feel right now.
Yeah, me too.
I just got out of a Star Wars movie, and I'm like, I know this isn't Phantom Menace bad, but like something's not sitting right with me at all.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. I felt like they took a lot of liberties, which
I almost want to redo the entire day like a Groundhog Day, and hoping that this movie is different.
We help enough people that the movie becomes better.
Yeah.
I learned how to do ice sculptures. I learned how to like fucking speak German.
Or take a DeLorean and go back and be like, "Hey, Rian, don't do the force.
Don't do the force floating space
force
shit.
Pull.
Don't do
the Guardians of the Galaxy force pull. Don't do that."
I half expected Rocket to just show up, and he's just like, like, come on, get her.
Or a Porg.
Yeah.
Porg with a rocket ship like a Boba Fett. He's got a Boba Fett helmet on. And then like Kylo Ren standing on top of like Snoke after he cut him in half and start making like halfy jokes. Hey Snoke, can you get up for me? You're like, can you walk it off?
Quit half-assing it. Come on. Dude, you see Snoke when he was dead, they did like a close-up of him and he like his tongue was all sticking out and he was all I was like Jabba. And then his like lower half of his body just falls out of the chair.
Yeah.
That was fucked up.
Yeah.
I was like,
I know Snoke is evil and all.
They really punked him bad.
Some of the shit they did with like it reminded you of like Friday the 13th.
Yeah. Yeah, it was gross.
Like he was like the blonde that decided to take a shower that gets cut in half by a machete.
After 3 of his friends died, he's like, I'm gonna go take a shower.
And then Jason takes the half corpse and starts killing the other like camp counselors with it. You know, like Kylo Ren should have like force picked up Snoke's body and just
threw it at Hux. Threw it at Hux.
Yeah, or just started beating the Praetorian guards with it. That would have been fucking funny, like his dead corpse.
Dude, like that's the one thing I almost forgot is like, so Hux is still my least favorite character, but like he almost kills Kylo Ren. He starts to pull out his gun like he's gonna kill Kylo because Kylo's knocked out. And Kylo wakes up and he like puts it back. I was like, it's fucked up. And then later on he calls him Leader Supreme or whatever. Didn't he?
Supreme Leader.
Supreme Leader, yeah. I was like, oh really?
Yeah.
I don't think you earned that.
Hux is gonna fucking so pull a Starscream on you. He's gonna so pull a Starscream on you so badly.
He knows where you sleep.
Yeah.
You got to go to sleep sometime.
You're so fucked.
Kylo could just like project himself into Rey's shower. He's like, hey, what's up? Remember me?
When did you get that mole? Yeah, because they still had that connection at the end without Snoke.
Yeah.
It was still there. I was like, so he can just do that anytime?
Yeah. He's like, hi. At her most vulnerable, she's like, what the fuck?
What did you, like, while she's taking a shit? Yeah. What did you fucking eat? Like, what did it's so bad, I'm in a different galaxy and I can smell it. So I can, like, eat it. It's like fucking.
It's palpable.
It's like ketchup and onions.
Step Brothers.
Like she's like clothes shopping and Kylo Ren's like right there. It's like, makes your ass look fat.
Don't buy that.
Don't buy that. I mean, stripes. I mean, like a white cloak before independent,
before Labor Day.
Before Labor Day, are you fucking kidding me?
Or she pops up and he's like playing with action figures, like Spaceballs.
He's like spanking it to like the slave dancers
To
from
Ula.
like Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
And she like force appears and she's like, oh God, what the fuck?
Ula.
He's like, oh my God. It's like a centerfold. That
It's like
pops
hut
out.
porn or something.
Tattooing.
She's like, really? I never took you for huts.
Titillating Tatooine.
Oh, God.
Juicy melons on Jakku.
Oh, like Kylo's into some really twisted stuff.
Yeah. There's a chick getting reamed by a bantha.
Yeah. Oh my God! Just like shit, I can just project
Or
myself
like,
anywhere.
Like in Jane in Clerks 2, where they get the donkey show and it's the guy that sucks off the donkey.
Oh yeah, that was so messed up. Sucks off a bantha.
Yeah,
It's like
it's a sand person.
Kylo's like still wearing the helmet. He's like, whoa,
It's a sand person.
this looks awesome.
Imagine like you see a sand person and they take off their like helmet and they're like gorgeous swimsuit models. That would be fucking hilarious.
That would be awesome.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Oh my God. Yeah, that whole projection thing is just, oh God. It's like, oh, did I come at a wrong time?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like, she shows up. I was like, Kylo, really? Really? Is that porn again?
It's like robot.
Would you stop touching
robots?
yourself? If you don't stop touching yourself, if you don't give up the first order, I'm going to tell everybody what you do. That's how episode
Credits.
9,
He's like,
that's how
episode
9
ends. He's like, I'm out.
That's how
I'm
he
done.
turns back to the good side. It's like, why'd you turn back to the light? She was going to tell everybody I jerk off to sick shit.
Yeah. So I went to Acto. I crashed my plane in the water, and I'm stuck here with porgs.
I got Luke's cloak.
And those, what was that thing he was milking? That was gross.
So weird. It was like green milk or something.
And he drank it. It was like on his lips. It was like on his beard.
It was like, how do you know that wasn't just semen?
How do you know he didn't grab the wrong thing?
Yeah. How do you know that was not like a pimple?
He had like a routine.
Yeah.
He like got milk.
fishing
He
thing
got
was
the
pretty
fishing thing. It was really cool. And then later she's like, why don't you train me? You got enough fucking time on your hands.
Yeah,
you don't do anything.
All you do is drink semen, like green semen, and go fishing.
After 30 years.
Yeah. And if you really wanted to come out here to die, why do you keep feeding yourself?
And after all that time, all you can do is like project yourself. Like that's great. That's
Actually,
like,
killing them would have helped better.
project yourself when you're dead, dumbass.
You do what Loki does all the time, and he doesn't die.
That's
So
true.
Loki's more powerful than Luke Skywalker.
The Loki pokey stick.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh man. All right. Well, that was the Last Jedi review. End on a really weird note.
I like this one better than I like our review better than the movie. Right now.
All right. Well, that was episode 113 of Chew on This, a Nerds United podcast. I'm BJ.
Vic,
Till next time, folks, chew on that.
later.